Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. It is the springtime. It feels like summertime, and we are back for another update video. I apologize for not getting one together. It's been about 2 months, but we've just been crushing it in the yard, super busy, and now I finally have a video together for you. So let's check it out right now. You're gonna see all the progress we've made. You're gonna see bees, you're gonna see the puppy, you're gonna see the garden, you're gonna see strawberries near the pool that we just put in. There's a ton of stuff that we got done, and you're gonna see it right now. So enjoy the video. All right, let's check out the front yard first. So we had all these wood chips and we were having company over, and I didn't know where I wanted to put them right away. So I ended up spreading wood chips just out in this area to cover the grass. And this makes it so it's a little bit of an area where we can, I don't know, store some stuff, wheelbarrow things. We could even park cars on it, whatever. So it came out kind of nice, leads into the backyard. We discovered that there's a mulberry tree here, or at least what appears to be a mulberry tree, but I'm pretty good at identifying them at this point. And I would imagine this is gonna start getting mulberries maybe next year. So we're gonna keep this here and then remove these flowers, these roses, and just relocate them probably over here or something. Anyways, the hosses look insane in there. And we're almost through with this is our 5th big old bag of compost. So we're almost through this last bag. Hopefully that's the last bag. I don't really want to buy anymore. All right, what else? So we did do some new things in the front yard. It's been a while since the last video. These are our cherry trees, how they look right now. So we made a little garden bed in here. These are our 3 cherry trees, and I think they're looking really good. 2 of them even had a few cherries on them, but we plucked those off because I don't want the trees focusing on cherries and fruit production. I want them focusing on getting their roots situated down underground and focusing on roots and foliage. So these are the cherries. Looking great. We've mowed the yard maybe 3 times this season. It always looks so much better after it's mowed. Right now it's not mowed, but it's due for one soon. We had a lot of crazy weather last night, a lot of storms, heavy rain. So everything's popping today. Over here, we made a rock wall, kind of like a little barrier to a bed, and we have willows. So I planted 200 willows around the property, 8 different varieties, and it's essentially like my little willow project, little research project. So it's kind of hard to see because there's other growth in like dandelions, but you could see like this is willow coming out of the ground, willow, willow, and they're gonna grow much taller over time. But there's willow all in here, and eventually that'll be like kind of like a nice barrier blocking this little area. And I have much better willow over there too that are doing better, so I'll show you those in a minute. And we have crazy, crazy amounts of poison ivy in here. Look at this. This is literally all poison ivy. This is all new growth poison ivy, all in here. It's actually insane. I've never seen poison ivy like this. So I don't really mess around with the poison ivy. I asked my dad, and he typically does a pretty good job removing it. I don't know if he wants to get into this though. This is just too much. He used to do some poison ivy removal as a kid, so that's why I always use that as an excuse to try and get him in here and take out some poison ivy. Anyway, one of the big things that we did recently since our last update video, which was definitely over a month ago, we've been crazy in the yard. Sorry I haven't gotten a video up yet until now, but it's just been crazy amounts of work out here. But if we come over here, we can see that we've created a beautiful little bee area. So I made a little pathway in here. It took dozens of wood chip wheelbarrow fills to just make this area what I wanted. And it looks like we had some stuff fall out of the trees recently. But we have two beehives right now, as you can see, and it seems like they're thriving. They accepted their queens really nicely. They rescued her from her little box. And realistically, we should definitely get into these boxes ASAP just to see what's going on in there. I think one of the things that we were supposed to do probably a week or 2 ago was just to make sure that the queen is laying and that the drones are being laid and that there's new bees coming. But honestly, they seem like they're thriving. I haven't seen any signs of slowdown. So I would imagine that she's laying properly and all that. So I would guess, yeah, we want to get in there and check out the bees, just see what's going on. And then also we're going to have to add our queen excluders. As we add more boxes, we don't want the queen going into the boxes and laying eggs where we actually want just honey. We're not going to pull any honey this year. We're going to leave it to the bees so they have food and all that. And I'm seeing some ants trailing in here. I wonder what that's all about. We really have to get into these boxes.
Just a quick little interruption. Between filming this video and editing the video, we actually did get into the beehives to check them out. So it looks like our queen is definitely laying. She's doing really well. There's a bunch of combs that are capped. It's not honey, but it's actually the young little bees that she's laying. So yeah, you could see all this footage that we took when we were in those beehives getting stuff done. So this is actually the first time that I went into these beehives. It was very fun, very exciting, and I feel so much better doing it now than I did about 6 years ago when I first started. I did a little bit of beekeeping. It didn't really work out. I was focused on my microgreens business at the time, and Alyssa's father ended up taking it on and doing it as a business. So that's cool. But it feels much better now that we have our own hives on our own property, and it just feels like I'm more, I guess, brave and confident. It, like, all the insects really freaked me out back in the day, but I feel a lot better going into these hives now. So I hope you enjoyed the little footage of me going in there for the first time, and hopefully she'll just keep on laying and we'll get a ton of honey next year.
But this area came out really good, and there's even some room back here for some more hives in the future. I would definitely have to do a little bit more tree trimming up here to bring in some more light, especially in the winter time. Although the winter sun dips down, which is great. It's kind of why I chose this area. But yeah, I've been up in the trees doing my tree work. I like my little arborist skills. Speaking of up in the trees, let me show you a little bit of a new web progress up in this magnolia tree. This tree is really fun and easy to climb, so I figured it'd be a good opportunity to make a very low-key, chill, small tree web. So I've started doing just a tiny guy up in there. And it's coming along, but I haven't done too much work. The tree web in the back I've done a ton of work on, and I'll take you up there at the end. But we have some more stuff to go see. Let's go around this way and show some of the other progress. Oh, these ferns. We didn't have any of these specific ferns on the property, but I think last year I literally manifested it. I was like, man, I want these ferns. And then within like 2 weeks, I swear they just started popping up. It was the weirdest thing. Maybe that really is how nature works in manifesting, but we like the way these ferns look, and we have one here and we have two around the corner here. So they're growing in here as well. And that's great. We're gonna let these get really, you know, set up for themselves, and then we'll transplant them over to the back of the pool area where we want them. But it's so fun that these ferns, these specific ferns, just ended up on the property when I decided I wanted them. These are plum trees that are looking actually pretty solid. I got these for free from my buddy Jim. Thanks, Jim. Much love, brother. And actually, I didn't even notice this until now, but there's a ton of plums on them. You see this? Look at this. Just loaded with plums. So I'm not sure I necessarily want plums on these this season. So I think I'll have to go pick all those off. I got to get these in the ground. I'm not 100% sure where I want these plum trees. We already planted 3 plum trees back in the orchard. We're going to see those in a few minutes. So I don't know where I want these. We reset this garden bed, and this is kind of like Alyssa's herb and flower garden bed. So we have a bunch of herbs in here, some from last year, some that we planted this year, and then we planted our flower seeds, and I believe they're starting to come up because those look like flowers. They look like calendula or something. So that's great. We got lemon balm, sage, oregano, thyme, parsley, rosemary, spearmint. So it's awesome. It looks like something was digging in here though, so maybe a bunny or something. The peas that we planted, same place as last year. They're not doing that great, and I think the animals just eat them. The bunnies just got to them. No big deal though. Gotta give some to the bunnies. These are currants, 3 currant plants that I ordered recently. I was done ordering plants, but then I started getting the emails about all the sales. So I'm quite the sucker. But hey, more food, that's great, right? And then these are the leftovers of the strawberries that we planted. You're gonna see we planted 150 strawberries next to the pool, and we still have some more that we gotta kind of just rogue plant in various places. Our strawberry plants are thriving. These were planted last year, and then these were 2 years ago. Different varieties, I'm thinking that's why these are a little shorter and lesser, although the soil may have broken down even more in this part. But you can see in here, well, one, the isopods are definitely getting their fill. So I like the isopods, although they do eat my stuff. They're just so cute. I love the little pill bugs. But the strawberries are starting to turn. We ate our first strawberries yesterday. They were delicious. And I'm hoping to find some more today that aren't eaten. But if not, we'll definitely get some tomorrow or the next day, because these are definitely turning very quickly. Oh, do we have some ready? It's not quite ready. It's not all the way there, but we're gonna eat it because we're filming a video. Actually, I think I like them a little bit better like this because they're slightly more sour. You want some, baby? Sure. Yummies.
Thank you.
All right. Let me take one more for the road. All right. It's crazy. Like, you buy these plants for like $5 or whatever you pay for these plants. You plant them in the ground, you take barely any care of them, and a year later, 2 years later, you're just pulling free food out of your property. It's just, there's something about this stuff, man. Growers know what's up. This is where it's at. So speaking of growing, these are the rest of my seedlings that are still in the seed trays. The peppers, when I originally started taking these outside, I think I burned the crap out of the leaves. But at this point, these peppers are actually looking great. So let's see what we got here. We got some Coronito Arancia pepper. We have some bell peppers. We have some banana peppers. Awesome. I love me some banana peppers. And we have some Jimmy Nardellos, which I'm not even really too sure what those are all about, but some people go crazy for them, so I wanted to grow them. Our first round of ground cherries didn't pop, but now we have 2 ground cherries that successfully germinated, so that's exciting. We're gonna plant those in the yard. Just some leftover tomatoes. We already planted most of them. And then some like melons and stuff that really weren't doing great, but I think I've brought them back to life quite a bit. So some melons over there. Anyway, it's just fun. I love all this. It's so fun to grow all these plants. These are some hardy kiwis that I got along with the currants on one of those sucker emails with the sales going on. But I wanted hardy kiwis anyway, so it was like, hell yeah, give me some hardy kiwis. I believe this one's a male because it's fuzzier. Only one came with a label, unfortunately. And then these 2 seem like the females. And I believe you need 1 male for every like 5 or 6 females. So I'm gonna plant this male in the middle and do females around it. And these are gonna be going kind of near the grapes. I'll show where these are gonna go in a second. We pulled some lettuce out of here. This was just a rogue lettuce that was in there. We ate some yesterday. I think these are onions. This is kind of just, this bed has become just anything. I'm just putting all random stuff in here and seeing what works, seeing what germinates. Although these cactuses probably don't go well in here. Somebody the other day touched it and got some prickers. I got some ginger planted in this section only a few days ago, so nothing's popping up yet. And these are just some extra willows I had. So I'm just doing some water propagating. It's kind of fun. Kind of pointless, kind of fun. All right, let's go to the pool area. And also some of these beds, like once these strawberries are done popping, I think we might move these 3 beds off of this porch to get more space up here. Move these into the food forest or something, but I do want to keep these 2 beds over here. All right, pool area is looking better than it ever has. We got a new grill. It's been performing well. We've already used it probably more this season than all the past seasons combined with our stupid charcoal grill. I hate grilling on charcoal. Propane is where it's at. So that's been great. We've been having friends over and everything. And then we planted 150 strawberries down here. So this was, everything's been a ton of work. But just resetting this whole bed, it was a disaster. Getting the new compost in and then putting in the strawberries. And they're all taking very well. they're starting to get new growth, almost every plant that we planted. So 150 are in there, 6 different varieties, and those are gonna be rocking and rolling. So those are gonna look nice. It's gonna fill in the area and just provide a ton of food. Over here, I'll have to put a picture over this video, but it looks nice now, yes, but a week or two ago, this wisteria, I guess we have some rare variety because this wisteria is white and usually they're purple, but it looked insane. I'll put a picture over, but this had all the wisteria flowers on it. All these irises were bright purple and all in bloom. It was crazy. It looked insane. This bed was a disaster. This was like the worst part of the whole pool area. So I actually hired my friend, paid him some money to just come over and help. And we got this done and reset. And we don't know exactly what we're planting in here yet. We're thinking of possibly just doing flowers in this whole bed because we want flowers to be blooming at all different times because we had the big bloom and it looked amazing, but now it's done. So I think we want to try and time it with different varieties so everything is blooming at different times and we always have something in bloom. That seems fun. I've been finding, I noticed at my friend Jim's property, he had these little plants that he had bought. He must have bought these. It's some sort of like native species. I'm not actually sure what it is, but since I saw it at his place, I've been noticing it popping up around our property. So when I see it, I'm trying to harvest it out and then plant it in the bed over there. I don't think I'm super successful yet, but it's nice that it's growing up naturally because I know I'll be able to get some eventually. I sat on this the other day. I power washed everything and I think it weakened it. So I sat on this and went right through. It was actually really funny. I wasn't expecting it at all. I was by myself. I started laughing. My butt is just falling through the chair. We got some grow bag stuff going on. The wisteria, I started propagating a bit. So hopefully I put some roots in here. Hopefully it'll come up and I can start propagating some wisteria because it's really pretty, this white variety. And here I have some horseradish planted, and here I have some sunchokes or drew some artichokes planted. I don't want those spreading all around, so I'm doing grow bags for certain things. These cactuses are looking phenomenal. Like, look at all this new growth. And these are all edible. So you can eat the, I don't want to touch them too much because I'll be having prickers in my hands, but you can eat these little fruits. They're pretty seedy. It's a very natural food, but you can eat these little fruits, and then you can eat the pads. Obviously, you have to prepare them a little bit, get all those little spikies off. But one of the things we don't like about these is that they kind of spread themselves out. It's right near the diving board. It's where people walk. So I've been doing a bunch of bushcraft stuff. I got like a little hatchet and a bushcrafting knife that my buddy Eli sent me. And I've been just like building random things and like making my own little plant stakes, whatever. So I want to do 3 bushcrafted stakes right here. And then with my paracord, my rope that I've been loving to use, I want to pull this back up so it's kind of elevated off the ground, and can kind of grow upward that way. I trimmed the heck out of this. I believe it's some sort of rose bush. I guess these are the flowers. So these are the flowers that it gets. Maybe it's not a rose. I don't know what's going on, but I trimmed it back quite a bit and now it's just nice and bushy. It's amazing what pruning can do for plants and nature. You just got to cut out some of the dead weight and let the good stuff come. This was a web that I was building. The goal was to come off the back of the diving board with like a ladder up to here, and then you could like lounge in this whole area. And honestly, it's a sick idea and it was working pretty well. But as you build these systems, there's so much tension. It's pulling in the fence post over here and over here, and it's really screwing up the fence. So I got to take this down. I just haven't gotten to it. So that needs to come down. I got to either do a different idea or scrap that idea. So pool area is coming along. These are another type of fern, just like the ones I showed before, but they're not the same look. So we want to get rid of these ferns and then put the other ferns kind of in here because we really like the other ferns. The first time we saw those really was at Rexer's, when we were over at Rexer's. These mulberries were just naturally in here. Got a bunch of poison ivy coming up this mimosa tree that needs to come down. But there was a mulberry already in there. This mulberry, I believe I transplanted last year and it's coming back. This mulberry we purchased and now it's getting its new growth, which is great. And then this we planted recently This is a filbert or a hazelnut, and this one we got for free, as well as the one over here, which I'll show you in a second. We also got those from Jim, so thank you, Jim. Free hazelnut trees, awesome. So this is the other one. And these aren't dwarfs or anything. I saw Jim's, they turn into monsters. So I'm gonna have to train it well, and then I like how the lilacs kind of come over this way, and I'm gonna train this one up and over this way, and you'll kind of like walk through this little, I don't know, nature opening. Anyways, we got the ducks. This is not our yard anymore. It totally belongs to the ducks. We're just growing stuff beside them. But they're in full control back here. And it's a lot of fun to have them around. We love just having them around and quacking and doing their funny little things. So this fig tree is coming back very nice. We've also been pulling a crazy amount of eggs. They are in full production right now. Like if we wait a week, we're pulling 70 eggs out of there. It's crazy. This fig tree is coming back pretty good. I'm happy with it. I did like all leaves in here over the winter, so it seems to have worked pretty well. I think this is coming back stronger than past seasons, so I think I liked having that little bit of insulation. Not to mention, here on Long Island, we did get bumped up in agricultural zone in this past year, so now instead of 7A, we're zone 7B. That's fantastic. Didn't even have to make any moves. We just stayed right where we were, and you know, it's a better ag zone. Maybe that's global warming or climate change or whatever, but I'm not complaining. I'm a grower. That just means I can grow fancier things. I'm gonna be growing lemons soon. Anyways, this is the garden. We are very happy and impressed with what's been going on in the garden. This is our kind of like main growing area and main focus. That's why we're not doing much with the beds over there. We got these new Vago beds that we put in. We have 6 of them, but we just didn't fill them yet. But we figured they'd look nice right in front of this nice little garden area. And we got the lights for them, which look really cool at night. They get charged by solar, and then at night they come on, and it's a nice vibe. And I got some more solar lights coming because we've been using lights at night for like parties and stuff, and it looks amazing. What else we got going on? Actually, yeah, hold on the garden for a second. We have a little bit more to talk about. I'm gonna take this out. But this is our olive tree that wasn't looking too good, but then we noticed this morning there's 2 new branches of growth coming out of the top, which is an amazing sign. So I think this got clipped at the top or hurt at the top, pinched or whatever, and now boom, new growth coming right out. So we're worried about that, and now we're not anymore. That's gonna be coming along nice. That's an olive tree. I didn't even mention this before, but this plant inside the pool area comes up naturally, and this is mullein. So this is actually, I think, the best plant in the wild to wipe your butt with. I've heard it be called shit Velcro before, so that's kind of funny. But I figured, let's keep that growing, because if I can get like a little outhouse or some sort of outdoor composting toilet situation going, and then I can grow this nearby and we could wipe with that, that'd be sweet. Some people must think I'm so weird. Hopefully you guys don't think I'm weird. I think you guys are my right target audience. Anyways, the grapes are looking amazing. One of them took forever to get its foliage and we were so worried, but it came around. So we got a grape here, a grape here. This was the one that was worrying us, but now it looks great. And then this one has been our best, most productive grape this season so far. So the grapes are here. I planted them at the post. So what I'm gonna do with each grape is I'm gonna let them come out, maybe 4 to 6 branches on each grapevine will come out and go both ways. So 1, 2 on either side, or maybe 1, 2, 3. And then the hardy kiwis, I'm gonna plant essentially kind of right next to, or like with this, maybe right behind or something like that, and it'll climb up the center post, the hardy kiwis, and then start going across the top. So this fence is gonna be very functional. We're gonna get a lot of vertical use out of it, and we're gonna be able to not only grow a lot of food on it, but it's gonna look really cool because once this fills in with all the green, it's gonna look awesome. Obviously this is gonna take time. I'm doing a lot of planning into the future and stuff like that, but that's the way I think now, with nature and letting nature grow, and best time to do it now because it takes some time to grow. It takes a few years. So the grapes are looking great. Hardy kiwis are gonna go in here. And then we gotta figure out some like lower to the ground stuff maybe the currants, but the currants look like they get a little bit tall, so I don't know if that would block out some of the grapes. Anyways, just stuff that we're thinking about. We remade the whole fireplace. So the old fireplace had these bricks that were just breaking. They were kind of just like old, lower quality bricks. Hopefully these do a little bit of a better job. They were all sourced just from the property. There was just bricks, piles of bricks around. So we rebuilt it. It's a little bit bigger. And I have a smaller section right here that's a little lower to the ground. It's almost like a mini little fire pit off of the main fire pit. And this is where I've been doing some bushcraft like cooking. So I make my little feather sticks. I use my fire steel to shoot sparks into the fire, and I start my fires that way now, so I don't use lighters or anything. I'm so badass. I'm a bushcrafter now. So I make my little fire in here, and then I've been cooking with my cast iron pan. I'll pick stuff from the garden. I'll go find a duck egg from like underneath a blackberry bush, and I'll cook it up right here. It's cool. It feels cool. It's like backyard bushcraft, baby. This is a little bushcraft project I did the other night when we were hanging out around the fire. I essentially just like bushcrafted some stakes that were like maybe this tall, put a spike on the bottom, round on the top, hammer it in with another big stick, and then I used my paracord skills to put a little platform here. So now I don't have to sit on the ground when I'm here. I can kind of sit on here. It's moderately comfortable, and I could do a little work, cook, and yeah, I've been doing a little bit of this lately. Super simple. Seems like I'm going back in time, but I think that this is actually forward thinking. So I love this shit, man. I'm all into my little things. Got my little bushcraft station over here. This is where I use my little mallet with my bushcrafting knife and split wood and make feather sticks. And I don't know. Yes, I'm a weirdo, but we're having fun. This is like a little pot holder. So you can sit on something, and then you could hang your little pot on here. Make a little tripod, cook over the fire like that. Anyways, shout out to my boy Eli. He sent me the bushcraft knife by Benchmade. So this is really cool. Didn't really want to spend money on a bushcraft knife, and I'm doing all this research, and I recognize this knife. I'm like, yo, Eli, don't you have the Benchmade bushcraft knife? And he was like, yeah, do you want it? I was like, what, you don't want that knife anymore? And he was like, I think you'll get more use out of it. And I think I am probably getting more use out of it. I use it all the time. So big shout out to Eli, thank you. I love my bushcrafting knife, so I've been using that a bunch. All right, anything else to show over here? Yeah, all right, the blueberries are looking great. They are loaded with blueberries. The blueberry trees that we planted recently look okay, but obviously they just need some time to grow, get situated. This frost peach is looking phenomenal. So much growth on it, looks really healthy. But over here, this is a tripod that I've built in the past. Not my best work, but some of my earlier bushcraft days. Over here, this contender peach doesn't look good at all. Like no growth on this whole branch. It's like trying to grow out of here, but just not. So like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I think I'm just gonna cut it back to where it actually is getting green. Maybe cut off this branch and just see if it can catch up. I have a feeling that it's more growth above ground than the below ground can support. So hopefully I could revive that. Anyways, moving on. This area is going to be kind of like our experiment area, food forest, hydroponic area. So what we did is we put a border with these rocks, left an opening over there for an entrance that we could walk through in the future. And we also planted willow on the border. So once these willow grow up, it'll provide like some privacy, because in there it's not going to look the prettiest if we're doing just random experiments and stuff. So again, another use of the willow. And the two varieties that we have over here are blue, B-L-E-U, and goldstones. So I'm just starting to learn about willow a little bit. I think they're very versatile, very useful crop. And actually back in college, we had a biomass willow project. I studied like sustainable energy, and we were doing research on using biomass willow, the same stuff, cutting it down and then using that, burning it for energy, to turn it into energy. So it's kind of cool that some of these things are coming full circle, and now I have 200 willow plants planted on my own property. It's pretty fun. but they look pretty wimpy right now, which is a bummer, but I'm glad that they're growing and I'm excited to see how they look in the future. So those are down the whole line here. Over there, you can see those 3 trees right here. Plenty of poison ivy coming up over here as well. But 3 trees right here, these are all filberts or hazelnuts. So similar to the ones over there. I'm not sure if these are dwarfs or not, but I bought these online, so I didn't get these for free. 3 hazelnuts, or I call them filberts. And then these are pawpaw trees that I got for maybe free, or I might have to pay for them, I'm not sure yet. But 1, 2, 3 pawpaw trees, I gotta get those in the ground. But those are cool. If you don't know what a pawpaw is, they're native to, I don't know, I guess this region? Northeast in North America? I don't know. But look up a pawpaw, P-A-W, P-A-W. They taste almost like a banana custard, and they're like these round little, I don't know, custard pods. They're pretty cool. They're delicious too. I got the sink ready to go. I paracorded it to the tree. And then I think this is gonna be a really good location for a wash sink for vegetables. Because we got a food forest production area over here. We got production over there. We got production here. We got the orchard back there. I think it's just kind of like a good central location. So as we're pulling stuff out, boom, bring it here, wash it up, cool it down. It's underneath this beautiful shady tree, so it like feels really good in here for like working. And I think that's gonna work really well. Reba, little doggy, has been digging her holes over here, so that's what these cinder blocks are, just blocking the holes so nobody twists an ankle. But we could stop her from digging, but it's natural for dogs to dig, and I wanna see how deep she can get. What else we got going on? All right, let's take a walk through the garden. Oh, look, I added my little things that I've been wanting to add for, I've had this saved up for literally 2 years. I knew I was gonna build a garden, and I knew I wanted this at the garden entrance. So I don't know what it is. I just found it in my grandparents' house. I think it's probably something my grandma painted at some point. But trespassers will be composted, just so you know. Don't trespass, I'll compost you. Got our little weird, I call it a guardian, like a little guardian watching over the garden. And then we found this on the property at one point, so we figured that'd be funny to put right there. Anyways, we'll walk into the little garden area, and everything is growing really well in my opinion. I think this is better growing than I've ever done before. These lettuces are just full and productive, and they actually grow instead of things in the past that I plant and then it doesn't grow. So everything actually is growing. This arugula is obviously shot by now, but we're just letting it go to seed, hoping to get some free seeds and plant some more arugula. But we had plenty of this. We ate a bunch of it. There's spinach kind of here behind the arugula. There is a bunch of Swiss chard in here. These are all collards. And then we planted a bunch of radishes between all the collards. And then this is all kale back here. This whole row is cabbages. So 3 different types of cabbages. And then my boy Casey, shout out to Casey, Root and Rise Coffee. He's been helping me a bunch and guiding me here and there where I don't know what I'm doing in the garden. And he's been a huge help. So much love, Casey. It's been a great new friendship that we've been developing, and I'm really pumped about it. So he had some extra garlic, and he planted it here in this row. So hopefully they do all right. They seem to be doing okay. Definitely have some weeding to do. If you notice, there's like grass growing all over, and this is the first time this has happened, but the straw that we use for mulching, it had a bunch of seeds in it, a bunch of weed seeds. So I have a feeling that this is all like barley growing up out of the ground, which is fine. It's not the biggest deal in the world. And once it gets a little bit taller, actually it's probably at a good height now. Maybe I'll do this later today. But we can just weed it out. One time weeding and it'll probably be done. What's this back here? Maybe more cabbage probably. And then I have Brussels sprouts here. They're just young, you can't really see them. And then these are okra that I planted recently. This whole row is basically beans. We got some fava beans at the end, and this whole area is just like all different types of beans. Dark kidney beans, light kidney beans, navy beans, all the beans. Then over here, we have our peas, sugar and peas, and actually there's flowers, baby. So we're starting to get our peas coming. So that's amazing. They taste so good. I love pea pods. In here where it looks blank, there's purple potatoes planted. I just planted them recently, so they're not up yet. All of this, all potatoes. So this is our potato row. And then this is all fava beans that we planted between the potatoes. And it looks like they have some sort of pests in here. Looks like aphids. So I gotta start learning pest control. But I did see over here, like we're growing over here, man. Like we are planting shit, it's growing, we're harvesting, we're eating it. Like this is amazing. This is like such a dream, such a dream. I want everybody to feel this joy of growing your own food, being a little bit more self-sufficient. It's just like so joyous. Radish, baby. Delish. All right. What else we got going on? We got parsley down the front of this. Got our cilantro coming up behind. And then all those peppers that you saw, those pepper seedlings, those are gonna go in here. So this is gonna be a pepper row. This, you might be able to tell or maybe not, but these are all sunflowers. So we planted sunflowers in the front, sunflowers in the back. There's one variety, you can probably tell that like stops around here. This is one variety of sunflower. This is another variety of sunflower. These look to be much bigger. So, which means that this is actually much more useful for what we're trying to do over here. What we want to do is have the sunflowers grow up, and then in between all the sunflowers, we planted cucumbers down the whole way. So I want the growing sunflowers to act as plant stakes for the cucumbers that will then climb on the sunflowers. So we'll see what happens. The sunflowers are growing great. The cucumbers don't look great right now because they were recently planted and they were not looking the greatest seedlings, but I can tell that they're definitely bouncing back and they're going to look amazing. So we have celery planted in here, little babies. Our first round of celery didn't really make it, so we planted again. And we also back here have beets. There's a specific type of beet that we planted called a mammoth red mango beet. And apparently they're like 40-pound beets that are like this big. So we'll see what happens with these beets. I'm really excited to see how they come out, but the beets are starting to come up a bit. This whole row is tomatoes. They're just very young, so you can't see them too much. And they also sprinkled basil seeds throughout the whole row. So we're gonna be seeing basil come up over the next week or two. And then these tomatoes are gonna just keep on growing and getting taller. I think we have, I don't know, 6 different varieties of tomatoes. This back row, I planted a few zucchinis just because I had extras. So there's 3 of those in here, but that's not what this row is for. This row is for the 3 sisters. So corn, beans, and squash, the way the Native Americans used to do. So right now we have all corn planted. The whole row is planted with corn. Down the very center, there's 3 rows, if you will. So we have a triple row going down the center, all corn. And then in the front and in behind, we're gonna be utilizing that space. So you got the corn growing, then you grow the beans up the corn, similar to the idea with the cucumbers and the sunflowers. You grow the beans up the corn, and then you use the squash as a ground cover to block weeds and to further utilize the space. And this is coming up over here and right here, and I had a little taste, and that is fennel or anise. I remember this used to be in the garden back in the day. It was actually over there, but it's popping up over here, so we're leaving it. It's right at the end of the aisle, so that's couldn't be a more perfect place to pop up. And that's just another edible to have in the garden. So garden's looking good. What's the date right now? We're at the very end of May. So I don't know, I think we're looking great. We could be a little further along, but hey, we made some mistakes and that's all right. I think most of what we've done has worked very well, and this is definitely drastically better and more production of food than I've ever had in past seasons. So we've put in a ton of work in the yard just this early spring from February to now, but look at the results. I mean, put in the work and you get the results. But even just building this garden, making the beds, putting in the compost, adding the straw, doing the wood chips, planting all the food, it's a lot. But hey, what else would you want to be doing with your time? It's also exercise. When you look at the blue zones in the world, where people are living the longest and the healthiest, they're moving their bodies like lightly and naturally. So that's kind of what I'm doing here in the garden, just moving my body around. I feel way stronger and healthier than I have in years, just because I've been moving so much and just utilizing my body. All right, so over here, elderberry's doing good. We planted some more raspberries in here. We planted 3 raspberries in here that we bought online. We have these black raspberry bushes that I planted. We've had these for years, just in pots, and these are actually a gift from, what's his name, Jan's, Long Island Redneck. So thank you, Jan's, for these black raspberries, and I'm gonna let the berries go this year. So we're gonna be eating black raspberries. I see them popping off. So these are all raspberries. One more little raspberry plant here. I restaked and just restaked all these blackberries recently. I put in another post over there that was a little bit better for movement through the areas, because before it was blocking the area. And I ended up tensioning the lines. This got pulled over, so I got creative, and now the top of this is tensioned all the way up to the tree web to hold this up. And then down the other side, that's tensioned just at the top to the tree. And then I have 4 lines that are holding up the blackberries. So the blackberries look really good. They're starting to get their berries developing. And just like last year, we'll be pulling a ton of blackberries and eating good. So this is what we call our orchard. So we have our apricot tree. We have 2 pears right here. And then we have 3 plum trees back there. And then we have this tree, which I've been working on over the past few years. This is a pear tree, and it produces. And I'm just working on getting the foliage and the energy from all the way up there, up in the canopy where it's out of reach, to down here. This is where I want the new canopy to be. So I'm chopping off a little bit at a time up there. The energy's coming out and shooting off down here, and then I'm leaving some branches. The branches are like drooping and stuff, which isn't what you want, but I'll be able to prune them and get them stronger and better into the future. But we definitely have some pears forming already in here. You can see them. So we'll be eating pears, and I'll be pulling pears off of my new branches already this year. But I don't need to worry about letting this tree get established, because it's clearly very already established. The roots established. So much energy is in the wood. And now I'm just taking off from the top, and it's just pushing out its excess energy down here. So hopefully that works over time. It seems to be working pretty well so far. And basically the similar idea for this tree. This is a plum tree. I ended up coppicing it, so chopping off the main branches. It shoots off a bunch of strong branches right from where you cut. It's called coppicing, and now it's just bushy and beautiful, and all the energy is low to the ground, so we could actually get in here and grab the fruit. And we have some plums forming in here. There was a ton of plums in the beginning of the season. I think they must have like fallen off the tree or maybe gotten eaten, but I've only seen just a few plums that made their way on here. Like right here is one. But I'm sure over time, as they get bigger, I'll be able to see more. And I was gonna prune this oh, fuck. R.I.P. Oh, that sucks. All right, well, there's 2 more right here, and I'm not touching them. Anyways, it's not the worst thing in the world that there's not a ton of plums on it, because the more plums, the smaller the fruit. Now there's just a few plums. It'll be able to put more energy into those few plums, and we'll get big plums. So there's 1 less plum that it has to put energy in. Anyway, we'll go over here. Down this whole fence, we have willow planted. 3 different varieties back here, and these are the tallest varieties that I bought. And the main purpose back here is to provide privacy versus the neighbors. Obviously the fence was very necessary and needed to go up and providing some privacy. Now we got to get even more going with the willows coming up. And the ones that I have planted down there are actually 30 feet tall. They'll be 30 feet tall when they're done. Yeah, so they're planted along the whole fence. There's some wild blackberries and stuff in here, but over on this side of the property, it's kind of just wild. We've been trying to just manage it, keep the weeds down, chopping and dropping, stuff like that. But eventually we want a pond. We want a pond up here for the duckies. And then we could probably start doing more food forest stuff over there once it's a little bit more rehabbed. But over here we have our apple tree that we didn't know if it was gonna come back, because last season a deer was eating all the new foliage. But hey, it looks pretty good. It's not the best looking tree I've ever seen, but it's living, so I'm happy. And now we can walk through. These lines used to go all the way to the tree and we couldn't walk through. Now we can walk through, right under this one. This is our best elderberry on the property. The berries are starting to form on here, and it's just very, very productive, very beautiful, very nice looking tree. And there's a little duck nest right here. You could see like the little divot where they lay, but they've been hanging out under the blackberries and hanging out under the elderberries and laying some eggs. But any eggs that we leave overnight, I think the raccoons find them and eat them, which is kind of fine, kind of not. But yeah, so I think there's been a bit of that happening. But yeah, I don't see any eggs. I don't see any new eggs today, so it doesn't look like they did any new laying underneath any of these trees, but it's fun. It's fun to see these ducks doing their little thing. But yeah, I think all these trees look really nice. The plum trees especially look amazing. The pear trees look really good. Oh God, don't roll an ankle, Don. Apricot, I think everything's looking good. I'm happy with it. And just more time, more growth, more energy, harvesting the sunlight. That's what we're doing back here. But luckily, this one variety of willow, I think it's called Miabina. This was the variety that I was most interested in because it's the tallest one. It's very hardy, it's very straight, and you can also, it's like one of the best ones for making living fences. You could actually make living fences out of the willow. So I'm glad to see that a lot of these are coming up and germinating and getting situated, and they look pretty healthy. So I'm happy about that. I'm excited to see what they look like in like 2 months. I don't know what they're gonna be. They'll probably be like this tall and still kind of weak looking, but then next season they'll be much stronger and hardier. Cut them back and then they regrow. So I don't know, I think that's about it. I guess to close out this video, I'll take you up into the tree web with me. Hello, duckies. But actually, yeah, let's take a look at the compost and then I'll show the progress in my tree web. This tree is kind of still down. Not really sure what to do with it. I don't have a chainsaw that can handle this. So it might end up just staying here for a while and breaking down naturally. Maybe not, I don't know yet. But, oh, we got some mushrooms coming up because of the rain, that's cool. Those actually might be edible. But this is the compost area from all the microgreens. And the ducks like walking on it. They like digging their little beaks in there. Although I think some vermin, maybe some rats, have found their way over here. So I got to start managing that a little bit better. Managing the compost better, keeping it nice and piled up, and also, you know, unfortunately managing those animals that I don't want here. But what's funny, this happens time and time again when I make these piles from the microgreens, is you'll see these random plants coming up and they're actually not that random. I see a sunflower over there from the sunflower microgreens. I see a ton of cilantro from our cilantro microgreens. This is a China rose radish. So it's pretty funny. And then of course a bunch of peas are coming up as well. So it's cool, but what's great is that this is all gonna break down and become a usable compost probably for like seed starting or mix it in with other stuff, whatever I'm gonna use it for. Duckies, aren't they amazing? They just walk around. So cute. And whenever we're doing work in the soil, they always flock over because they know if we're lifting soil and moving soil around, they know that there's fresh worms right there. And if we see any fresh worms, we usually just toss them to the ducks. Bad for the worms, great for the ducks, but hey, it's the cycle of life out here, right? Anyways, so I've been doing work on this tree web. We got some lines going over to that tree now that I got to start filling in, making huge platforms. I've been adding walls to make it safer, and I've actually had like half a dozen people up there just chilling, hanging out. So, you know what? You hold on to the camera. Why don't you come over here and just get like a nice upward view? I don't feel like holding the camera, but we'll be able to just see how this is working from down there. I bushcrafted these little wooden pieces for a nice ladder. And actually, that's supposed to be up there. All right. I added this little safety net behind me, just in case, I don't know, somebody loses balance and falls backwards. So you climb up here, and then you're up here into level 2. So I redid level 2 recently. It's a lot more open and inviting, and it has a wall for safety that I gotta keep on closing up. The gaps are still a little bit big, but you know, it's always a work in progress. And then we're gonna be making this extended platform out this way, all the way to the tree over there. So this just got redone. This stairway got redone. And now there's a better stairway up into the 3rd level. Boom. So now we can hang out in this 3rd level, and I added walls to this 3rd level so it's much safer. I redid my pulley system so I could pull stuff up if I need to pull up my equipment or pull up, I don't know, a cooler with food and drinks, whatever. That's my little pulley system. There's 3 little loops on the bottom. And I even rigged up my hammock up here so we can chill in the hammock. Although the whole thing essentially acts as a big hammock. So it's honestly amazing up here. And it's been so fun building and also hanging out with my friends in it and just seeing their reactions. So it's a lot of fun. And actually, I'm going to start building one for my friend's kids, hopefully starting that project up in about a week or 2. He has a daughter who just graduated high school, who's going to University of Delaware, and then a son who's going to be a sophomore in high school, so it's good age. I'm going to start building a little web for them. University of Delaware colors, it's also where my sister went, so that'll be fun. I'm excited to do like a smaller, lower to the ground project that I actually know the totality of the scope. I can get in there, do my work, and then it's done in a complete project. Because stuff like this, it's never ending. There's always like a new addition or something new I want to do. So anyways, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour of the property. We've been working hard this season, all spring, just crushing it out here and getting stuff done. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the progress and hanging out for this time. And I'll see you again soon for another video. Peace. I know you probably wanted to see the puppy too. She's a little cone head right now because she got spayed. So she looks a little silly with that cone on, but she's still cute and still a little monster. Right, little doggy? Right, little Reba? Right, little Reba? Oh yeah, yeah. Your little doggy. Got another week until we get this cone off of her head. So that'll be great once this cone is off. She's been really good with it, but obviously gets in the way and bumps into a lot of things. Reba, say hi to the camera. Why are you eating grass? Don't eat that grass. She's probably trying to eat the poop. Is there poop you're trying to eat? You're such a poop eater. Oh, you like the neck scratches? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, doggy. Now you can eat grass and get scratched. Good girl, Reba. Good girl, Reba. Yep, she's a good dog. I still like cats better though. That's all.